Hi, my name is Jennifer. Welcome back to my channel. I hope that you're all well. So this is very exciting. You may have seen recently that Ollie from the channel Criminolly has recently launched a Read What You Own challenge. I will link Ollie's video in the description box down below. So the idea is that you pledge to read a certain number of books from your TBR before you will buy any more books. And there are various tiers to this. So if you pledge to read 25 books, that is the bronze tier. 50 books is silver, 75 books is gold, and 100 books is platinum. Now, my problem, not that any of this is really a problem, my problem is not so much buying lots of books, but reserving them from the library. And obviously using the library is a great thing, absolutely. And I would never want to not use my library. However, what happens is that I constantly reserve books from the library. It's free to do so where I live, which is great. But I just have a steady stream of library books coming in. I'm usually at the library once a week to collect a new stack of books. And what that means is that it takes me an awful lot longer to get around to reading some of the books that I actually own. And the books that I buy are usually books that I am not able to get from the library, so I've tried to pick up a copy elsewhere second hand. And we are coming up to December. I am doing a book advent calendar again this year, a 12-day book advent calendar of second-hand books. So there'll be a load more books coming in to the house. I have books from last year's advent calendar I haven't yet read. I have books from my monthly subscription boxes that I haven't yet read. I've got books that I've bought at least 6 months ago that I haven't yet read, and it's not because I don't want to read those books, it's just because I always prioritise my library books. So I thought I would do my own sort of iteration of the Read What You Own challenge. So it is going to still be a Read What You Own challenge, but it's really focusing on trying to not order any more library books before I've read a load of the books that I actually own. So the first stage for me was counting up how many books I actually have on my physical TBR, which I don't think I've ever done before. So my physical TBR basically is most of these shelves behind me. I mean, these shelves are slightly depleted at the moment because I have a load of books I'm going to show you in a moment. But my physical TBR is basically these shelves here, this front of this shelf here, which is very depleted at the moment, and then this top shelf here is library books, and then I also have another two sort of units over there filled with more books that I am yet to read. And then the bookshelves, sort of these lower shelves and bookshelves elsewhere in the house, are generally books that I have already read. I do include on my physical TBR books that I am planning on rereading in the next sort of year or so. So anyway, so I sort of estimated, I reckoned I probably had maybe 70 or 80 books on my physical TBR. And then I added them up and it came to 147. So about double what I had sort of guessed, which is fine. I mean, I'm quite happy to be surrounded by lots of books that I haven't yet read, because I just think it is a lovely feeling, and it's the anticipation of reading all those books. And if we ever go into a lockdown, I have lots of books to keep me going, which is going to be a fear that I now have for the rest of my life. But as I say, it would be nice to read some of them and make space for some new books. So yeah, 147 books. Now I have a slight confession in that this morning I just happened to walk past a charity shop down the road and I got a book. But that's before I filmed this video, so it doesn't really count, but I'll show you what it is. We Are All Completely Beside Ourselves by Karen Joy Fowler, which is a book I have read before many years ago and very much enjoyed. I loved it. This cost me less than £1. It's in super good condition, so I had to get it. So I guess officially my physical TBR is actually 148 books. So the next stage was then deciding what tier I wanted to pledge. So how many books I wanted to pledge to read before I would reserve any more library books or buy any more books. And initially I was sort of thinking maybe I'll just go for like 15, which isn't an official tier, but Ollie did say you can pick whatever number you want, obviously. But then I started to make a list of the books that I own that I really wanted to get to soon, and there was a lot. So I am going to go for the bronze tier. I am going to go for 25 books that I pledge to read before I reserve any more from the library or buy any more books. Now, a couple of caveats is that I am allowed to read the library books that I already have out of the library. So those are the books here at the front of this top shelf. So I think I've got 10 books out of the library at the moment, so I'm allowed to read them, and I've only got 2 on reserve, which is very unusual for me, but I am allowed to keep those on reserve and read them when they come in. And then 2 more exceptions is that I am allowed to get out the library my library book club book, so we read 1 book a month. So when that comes around, I am allowed to get that out, that's fine. And also, in what may be terrible timing, I've just a few days ago signed up for NetGalley, which I've never really been interested in doing before, but there was one book in particular that I wanted to request, so I thought I'll sign up. And then I had a look through and I sort of requested several books, not loads, but a few. And I'm quite surprised because 4 of those requests have been approved already in like the last 3 days. I wasn't expecting that to happen because obviously I don't have any sort of score on NetGalley because I've literally only just joined. So I am going to read the NetGalleys that I am approved for, but I'm not going to request any more. And the ones that I've been approved for, those 4, they are sort of spread out in terms of the publication date. So I'll just plan it out, maybe just read like 1 a month. That's okay. And then I guess the final sort of caveat is the fact that I am doing the 12 book advent calendar, so I will be acquiring those books. I mean, most of them are already in the house wrapped. So obviously I'm allowed to, get them and open them. And that'll happen before I've read the 25 books that I've pledged to do. But that's fine, that's part of why I'm doing the pledge. So I have made a list of the 25 books that I want to pledge to read. I thought I would tell you what they are. I'm not going to talk in any detail at all about any of these books, but I will just tell you what they are. Should I want to swap one out for another one, that's fine. But these are the ones that I am particularly keen to pledge to read. So the first stack of books that I'm pledging to read, this is a load of crime and some thriller books. So we have Murder in the Basement by Anthony Berkeley, Below Suspicion by John Dickson Carr, Swan Song by Edmund Crispin, A Dark Adapted Eye by Bob Ravine, aka Ruth Rendell, The Village of 8 Graves by Seishi Yokomiso. A couple of Christmassy ones, so I will read these 2 in December. Cinderella Goes to the Morgue by Nancy Spain. And a short story collection, Crimson Snow, Winter Mysteries, edited by Martin Edwards. A couple of ones that are more sort of thrillerish. I think Burnt Paper Sky by Gilly Macmillan. And a book that's been on my imminent TBR a couple of times, but I've still not read, The Raw Shark Texts by Stephen Hall. Okay, next we have The Black Book by Orhan Pamuk. I have a couple of books by this author, but I've not read any, so I thought I really should read one. On Earth We're Briefly Gorgeous by Ocean Vuong. The Long Way to a Small Angry Planet by Becky Chambers. Saltwater by Jessica Andrews. If Cats Disappeared from the World by Genki Kawamura. Rainbow Valley by Ella Montgomery. This is the 7th book in the Anne of Green Gables series, and I actually have never read this one. And Sula by Toni Morrison. And then the final stack of books, we have The Story of a Brief Marriage by Anouk Arud-Pragasam. Bitter by Akwaeke Emezi. The Bellwether Revivals by Benjamin Wood. A couple of short story collections, Salt Slow by Julia Armfield. Stories for Nighttime and Some for the Day by Ben Lurie. We actually have some non-fiction, would you believe. This is an essay collection by George Orwell called Why I Write. And then there are 2 books that I want to reread, which are Fingersmith by Sarah Waters and Jamaica Inn by Daphne du Maurier, which I'll be reading with the FOMO book club early in the new year. So the eagle-eyed amongst you may have noticed that actually adds up to 24 books. So book 25 can be a free choice. I just haven't decided what that will be yet. That's fine. I'm sure I'll find something. So that's my plan. That's my pledge, to read 25 books that I own before I reserve any more from the library or buy any more. I'm actually quite excited to do this. So yeah, let me know if you're going to be participating in this challenge and how many books you are pledging. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll speak to you again very soon. Bye.